And fellow riders, have you ever wondered what's the best bridle solution for your horse? And you find it kind of confusing, what's best? Is bitless best or is bits best? And when is it advisable to use a shank bit and when is it not? Then you are in the right place because I thought I'd talk a little bit about the scientific results that has come from, you know, comparing bitless tack with bitted tack and also share my experiences on the subject and what I use today when riding. And my name is Katrine Fodstad, and I am a horse trainer from Norway, and I am educated as horse trainer from Holar University College and riding instructor from Norwegian Equine Center. But I learned most about horses when going to Mongolia and riding the semi-wild horses there. And speaking of Mongolia, I thought I'd show you the Mongolian bridle, which is quite clever actually. And if you have heard of a kineton noseband, then let me know in the comments below because the kineton noseband is, I think, very similar to how the Mongolian bridles work. And I'm going to try to show you here. This is a Mongolian bridle. So it has reins. The green ones here are the reins. And it also has a lead rope, which is also used as a whip. That is very long. Yeah. But the important part here of this bridle is that it's made out of one piece. So that if we use pressure on the reins, it is also going to be pressure on the noseband. So the rein pressure is distributed both to the bit and also to the nose of the horse. And it's also quite neat because this bridle can also be used as a halter. Because if you then loosen this knot here and pull the bridle a little bit down, you can use the bit as the back piece of a halter. So I did that several times during the Mongol Derby, which is the world's longest and toughest horse race. I could kind of swap from bridle to halter. And also I had this very, very long lead rope always attached to the bridle. Yes, which they also used as, a whip. Choo choo. And they would kind of swing this thing to encourage the horses to go faster. Yeah. So this is a neat solution and it's used it's quite common actually, since there are now 5 million horses in Mongolia. It's about 4 or 5 million horses. This might actually be one of the most common bridles in the world, and I found it worked wonders because of this ability to distribute the rein pressure both on the bit and the nose of the horse, which horses tend to understand. And another cool feature is that the horse is not constricted to keep the mouth closed when wearing this type of bridle. And I think this is also like the ancient type of bridles. They did not have nose bands, but they have kind of like something in front here, more like an ornament. Or maybe even they used it to distribute the rein pressure to both the nose and the mouth. Yes, which I find kind of cool. So let me know in the comments below if you have used a kineton noseband or if you have used some kind of solution like this. Or let me know what you are using today. Are you riding with the bit or are you riding without? Let me know because I'm very, very curious about this, and I have tried it all. Yes. And I thought I'd show you a bitless kind of solution, which isn't necessarily bitless, but It's a hackamore, mechanical hackamore. Because I have this lying around. I used it one time with one of our horses who suddenly became kind of like started bolting and doing stupid stuff. And he wasn't the type of horse to do stupid stuff because he was very quite well-tempered and calm horse. So we figured maybe something is wrong. And that's why when we discovered that he had actually very, very long stallion teeth. And some geldings can supposedly have this. We had kind of very long teeth here in his undermouth that kind of went up and was, interfering with the bit pressure, which made him annoyed. But then we swapped to this, and he was much better. And then we also got a horse dentist to actually just file down the stallion teeth, and then we could go back to a regular, halter bit solution, which is what we normally use. Yeah, so this can sometimes be the case if a horse who, is acting out of normal somehow. It could be something with their teeth and something annoying. And I think especially if we use drop down nose bands and stuff like that, and the horse has sharp teeth that needs to be filed, they can get like these sharp edges on the inside below and on the outside up above, and those needs to be kind of just taken down once in a while. So that can sometimes be the solution. So let me know in the comments below if your horse gets a regular dental check, because I think that can save us a lot of frustration and definitely also money if we then start buying all this tack. It's quite expensive. Yes. But then I thought I'd show you another bit I have. I don't use it very often. It's a Icelandic shank bit, and it also comes with a chain behind here. Yes, so you use it like this. And when you use a shank bit or a mechanical hackamore like this, we need to have a horse that is very well educated, because with this type of equipment, we're not doing any lateral work. Like we're not doing any bent to stops or lateral flexion or not necessarily even circles. Because if we pick up on one rein here, the chain will distribute the pressure to the other side of the mouth as well. So these kinds of bits, shank bits, they are actually for riding straight, not for riding circles and such. Because the chain makes the rein pressure from the right side be distributed over to the left side. So it's kind of a bit you use for riding straight with a well-educated horse. And also, I think the horse needs to be self-controlling, because we would use a shank bit like only to give signals. So when not used, the shank should be down like this. But if we start using the shank bit to control the horse, we can easily get into trouble, because there will be kind of this constant pressure. And yeah, it's not advisable to use shank bits on a horse who can't be ridden with loose reins and who isn't self-controlling and who hasn't come to the part of the training where you start riding straight and you are kind of done with all the all the circles and the bend to stops and stuff like that. Yeah, but it's I don't think they are like harmful, but you can do more harm if the horse and the rider isn't educated enough to actually use it. But it can be very, very nice bit to use when the horse and rider have reached that level of training where this kind of gives a little bit like the dot over the I. Yeah, if you know what I mean. Yes. So not much used, but still a favorite for the right horse and rider. And I have quite a few of these, like a regular snaffle, but I like them when they are 3-lid and not 2-lid. Like this one, you can kind of get the nutcracker effect. But it would not be like a problem with this bit because both they are equally long. But if you buy a lidded bit and you do like this and one side is kind of much higher up than the other, you can very easily get the nutcracker effect in the horse's mouth. So I like these ones, 3-lidded bits. I think it has some kind of cover in the middle here, who is supposed to increase the kind of salvia in the horse's mouth. Yeah, very easy, nice bits to use. Make sure to put them on the right way. Yes, also asked about Kimblewick bit. I have not used a Kimblewick bit, but I think it's kind of a hybrid between a shank bit and a regular bit. And I would then probably use it as if it was a shank bit. So if your horse isn't self-controlling and soft, and you have done all the lateral work and can operate through feel, I would probably not use a Kimblewick bit to, try to solve a solution, to solve a problem. Like the shank bits or the mechanical hackamores. This is not something you use when you have a problem you need to solve. Like, you need to use it when the horse is properly educated and ready to be ridden straight, only straight. Yeah. Use the copper roller bit. Probably not, or maybe I think I have something like this, but only the middle piece is like a roller. Yeah, that's one I use quite a bit on my gelding, because he can be a little bit like dull in the mouth. So when he has the roller, he becomes like more alive. But I also tried it on my mare, who has a very lively mouth and is very sensitive, and she like went like became more worried with it. So she is better with something like stable and quiet, because she's quite intense and sensitive. So a roller bit on her just made her mouth too busy. Versus my gelding, who can be, it's more like a steady type and can be a little bit like dull in the mouth or like not so alive. He does really well with this roller bit, because then he's like a little more playful. Yeah, he has something to play with. Yeah. Okay, and I will, towards the end, because I don't really have that many bits to show, I thought I'd show the solution that I usually use when riding. And that's what my go-to solution for riding on trails or riding in the arena or whatever. And it works very well, both with horses who might have some problems, but it also works very well with horses who are well educated. And the reason I switched to this solution is because actually of the nose bands. Because like I have a drop down nose band here, they're quite common. And they are, I think it's kind of advisable to actually use a nose band when you have a bit. Either this drop down kind or some other kind, because it kind of keeps the bit in place. But these nose bands, they also constrict the horse from opening the mouth. So they are very, very constrictive. It doesn't really matter if they are anatomically fitted or not. They will constrict the horse's mouth from opening. And since I started training horses in a manner that taught them to release tension in their jaws by yawning, it seemed very counterproductive to first go to all that trouble to teach them how to release tension and then prevent them from doing it. But it also didn't feel safe to, ride with just a bit and no noseband. Because if you need to do a sudden stop or something, you can kind of pull the bit out of the horse's mouth. So what I then started doing, which I think is quite common many places, especially with young horses, is to use a rope halter and a bridle together. And I will try to explain how I do it. See, so first I put the rope halter on, like this, on the horse's head, and then I put the bridle on, outside the rope halter, like this. And I make sure these knots are not underneath the side pieces of the bridle. And now comes the little trick here. And then I attach the reins from the side pieces of the rope halter, like this. And then when I use rein pressure, it will both be distributed to the noseband and the bit. And since the rope halter is so wide, it doesn't constrict the horse from, yawning and releasing tension in the jaws. And also, if I need to do a sudden stop or something, and do a bend to stop, I'm not going to pull this bit through the mouth of the horse. So I have found this solution to be definitely my go-to solution for everyday use. And it also, I think it kind of made the training and retraining process much faster. So let me know in the comments below if you have ever tamed a horse from scratch or retrained a horse. Yes, because then you might have found that the horse needs to learn the riding signals so that we can steer the horse when riding. And that's something that's advisable to teach them both from the ground and when ridden. And it's actually also advisable to reteach them, even to trained horses, check in on the riding signals. But what I would do earlier was that I would first teach everything in the halter, and then teach everything bitless, and then teach everything with the bit. But by using the halter bit solution, I could kind of skip from bitless to bit without, doing the bitless middle part, because it's very kind for the horse. And since they have learned all the cues and signals with the rope halter, they very easily understand them when you just add in the bit. But you add in the bit very gently, because the pressure will first go on the halter, and then it might also be just a little bit of bit pressure. But the pressure is not only on the bit or only on the halter. So I have, I'm using it every day. And also says you want to try it. And I also have a blog on ridelikeaviking.com/blog that shows you how to do it, and also a little bit how you can teach the riding signals, which after all, I think is the most important. Because if we have a troubled horse, except like the one with the stallion teeth, it is usually not going to be some kind of magic solution to just whip the tack and change the tack. The magic solution is to reteach the rein signal. And especially if we then can use feel and not pull. So this video will also show you a little bit how you can get started with this. Yes, so nice to see so many of you here. And this is a hot topic. And I still think the Mongolians, really nailed it with their solution. So the halter bit is a little bit, a replica of the Mongolian bridle. Yes. So I got really inspired when riding in Mongolia, and saw the solutions they had, because like the Mongolians, I also have a halter. So if I want to take a break, I can just take the bridle off like this. Oop. And then, since I have Icelandic reins, I can just swap the reins over to the halter, and I then have a long lead rope. So this is also great for when going on, trail rides out in the wild. You have the halter already on the horse, and the reins can be the lead rope. So you don't have to carry along with you a bunch of extra tack, because that was also something in Mongolia. We were only allowed to have 5 kilos of luggage when riding. And 5 kilos is not a lot. So every, gram will count. And then you save quite a lot of kilograms by not bringing a halter and a lead rope. Yes, also thinks it's smart. Yes, I will share the link to the blog about how you can get started with the halter bit solution, and also reteaching or teaching riding signals. Yes, because there's one thing I forgot to mention that is quite important, and that's like bits. They put the pressure on the horse's tongue, and the horse's tongue, it's like a sponge, like it's elastic and it's quite suited for actually absorbing pressure. Versus bitless solutions, they work on the bone. And if you ride bitless, or even if you ride with the halter bit solution, I don't necessarily recommend constant, rein support, because if we keep on having constant pressure on the bone, it can easily, get rubbed, and you can get damages on the horse to a bigger extent actually than if we have constant contact with a regular bit that works on the tongue, because the tongue absorbs pressure better than bone. Yes, so bitless isn't necessarily kinder. I think how we use the reins will determine if one solution is kinder than the other. And they actually also have a scientific study on this, which is called noseband and pole pressures underneath bitted and bitless bridles. And they found that, at least in this study, with those horses and those riders, the pressure on the nose of the horse was very, very high when the horses were ridden bitless versus when they were ridden with a regular bridle. Because obviously the bitless solutions will only work on the bone. So I recommend riding, on with a little slack in the reins when using bitless, and maybe also teach your horse to respond to feel. Yes, and that's also good when we are riding with bits, of course. So it kind of all boils down to, our hands, how the horse responds to our riding signals. Yes, so we can get manyfold back by reteaching the riding signal, if that's what's necessary. And it often is, even with well-trained horses. This is something that needs to be polished. And if we take time to polish the riding signals a little bit before riding off and doing exercises, we get manyfold back, because then we are riding with signals that actually work. Versus if we attempt training and riding the horse and doing exercises with signals that don't work optimally, we can often kind of wear them out and become maybe a little bit louder than necessary. So that's something I have benefited from a lot by polishing the riding signals and working on them separately, like working on just the left rein and getting the horse soft and responsive in the left rein. And then the right rein, like get the horse soft and responsive in the right rein. And then the left leg aid, you get the horse to use the hind legs of my left leg aid. And then the right leg aid and the right hind leg. And once those four riding signals work, the horse becomes so much easier to ride than if we try combining them, like two rein aids or two leg aids, and they are not quite polished. Yes. But I think the blog will actually get you started and will also show how you can use the halter bit solution. Yes, so thank you so much for joining this evening, and it was fun talking about horse tack. And I know many of us have many different bits and bridles in our tack room. At least I used to have that, but now I find like less is more. So I have regular bridle and the rope halter, and I have then a shank bit for special occasions that I rarely use, but it's kind of fun to use this because the horse curls the neck a little bit more, and it's fun to ride straight with a horse who responds well to the riding signals. But it's not fun to try to solve a bolting problem by putting on a shank bit. Then we can very, very easily get into more trouble than what we had before. Yes, so I hope this helps, and thank you so much for joining, and check out ridelikeaviking.com/blog how to make your own halter bridle. Yeah, but I will also share the link below. Okay, see you next time. Bye for now.